What is up, YouTube? My name is Poseidon. Welcome back to the workshop. I'm back with my boy,
Coach Juice.
That's right. And today we'll be reacting to Jake Paul versus
Nate Diaz.
Yes, sir. A hungry young fighter who just came back from a loss versus
a UFC legend, the original BMF, the man who popularized that patented Stockton slap.
They put hundreds of thousands of people in their seats. They also left us with a bunch of questions like,
how would KSI do in the ring against Jake?
Yeah, would Jake Paul beat Tommy Fury in the rematch?
And how would Jake do in the octagon versus Nate?
100%. We gotta find out and break it down, so let's get into it. Let's do it.
Jake looks nice and loose, which is good. You don't want to be too stiff going into a fight.
This was a crazy fight too off the bat.
I don't like how Nate had his hand down a lot in the early rounds here.
Early on, you can see Jake being bouncy, and he's coming. Look at that. He's using his arm. He wants to test him. He wants to swing that big overhand of his.
So they're both just feeling each other out, seeing how it's going.
Before this, I mean, again, how did you think this was even going to go? Realistically, like, this man has never put on gloves or stepped into a ring. Yes, gloves, but not stepped into a ring. What did we think before this going in?
I thought Nate would definitely be cautious because, again, he doesn't have much experience in the boxing, even though he has been boxing most of his life. Boxing in competition is completely different than MMA competition. So I thought he would, take it easy and then start picking it up in the end of rounds, which was kind of the strategy that he went towards the end of the fight.
For sure. And he was known to be the guy who could take a beating, do the cardio, do the rounds. So we expected a lot from Mr. Nate Diaz. And Peep Sweetie in the back. What's up, Sweetie? Jake being bouncy, swinging hard. Yeah, he came crazy.
He caught him early here, yeah.
Early, yep.
But Nate handled it pretty well in terms of like. I just didn't like how he wasn't counter-punching here. As you can tell, he's just defending. If he just threw a couple punches, that would back him up.
Oh.
Something.
Yeah, no, Jake was unloading for sure. Honestly, surprised that Nate didn't go down here. Look at this, he's like scrambling.
And he has an iron chin, even at this age. Like, the amount of punches he took was crazy.
And this is round one.
Look, he lost his balance there when he bounced off the ropes. Surprised though, he starts counter-punching a little bit. What you have to do, when you're backed up against the ropes like that, you can't just sit there. You're a sitting duck. You either need to roll out of the pocket or punch back.
Yeah, so crazy round one again, like he was trying to put him out quick. And also, like, you gotta mention, like, kind of ring IQ is there because he knows he has a 10-round fight in front of him. And so he's gotta be cautious. He can't just go all out in round one and then be dead for the rest of the fight, So he knew, all right, this guy's not going down. Let me settle down and let me get back to work. Let me readjust. So is that fair, you think?
Yeah, no, definitely.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't realize, like, it's chess for a reason. It's a long-term game. You don't win chess in a couple of moves, and if you do, that's a very bad matchup, and it's not a fair fight. Usually, when you get matched up with someone like Nate Diaz, you're gonna have to outsmart him. He's just gonna take the beating, and that's what he did. I think Jake could have knocked him out if he paced himself a little better, because all Nate was doing was taking all the punches, eating them, and then pushing the pace on him towards the end.
Yeah, he was eating them for sure.
See, and this is really where Nate started shining, is dirty boxing and fighting out of the clinch. He did a very good job of that. And I was surprised at how much this ref really let them fight out of the clinch and dirty box like this. Like right here, you see, that should have probably been broken up. Right here, you see Nate doing the mind games, looking away, pointing at him, trying to bait him in to try to catch him off guard.
And we see that a lot too, because you gotta remember, Nate Diaz has a massive name, a massive draw. That's part of the reason why this fight was as big as it was. And two, he's a showsman, right? So he's putting on a show for the crowd. He's playing for the crowd, playing with the audience, and he did a great job with that. Honestly, without Nate Diaz, I don't know if this fight would have been as entertaining as it was.
He's a big draw, and he created his own promotion now, which I think is great. I think a lot of these fighters need to be better compensated, especially for all the brain damage they take. They don't have health insurance when they retire, and that's something we definitely got to talk about in terms of Dana White and the UFC in the future.
Right, so we'll let Jake Paul handle that though. I know he's trying to get them paid more, so let them do his thing. Round two though, still feeling each other out, but still playing hard to get. They're playing rough right now.
Less than seconds. Oh, and again, see, end of rounds. That's where Nate starts shining. Look, see right there. So really important moment. Like when you get to a situation where someone has their head down or in a clinch like this, and they're holding on, and you're tied up like this. The ref should have broken that up. He didn't, which I don't know if that was in the contract or if it was just this ref, but it seemed like a lot of that dirty clinching, dirty boxing in the pocket like that was happening throughout the fight.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that, but
no, yeah, honestly, I also noticed, like, and we'll see it here too, like, while that's true, like, also a lot of uppercuts too, because they were so close together.
Yeah.
Pop, they would just trade shots with each other, honestly, too. You know, we'll see that now.
Messing with them. That's another thing I really liked about this fight. It was very entertaining. They were like talking trash, messing around in the middle of rounds. Right here, you see that?
Yeah.
You see how close he is, and he's just punching. And I was surprised Jake wasn't trying to counter there. I guess maybe Jake just doesn't feel comfortable inside in there. See? Jake is definitely the type to work more from outside the pocket because he's a power puncher.
Yeah.
It's hard to get power punches this close, up and close.
Jake's also good at like backpedaling too, just like moving around the ring. A lot of
he's
people,
pretty mobile. Yeah.
A lot of people say he's like running away, but I don't think that's the case. He's just, you know, regathering himself, regrouping. You know. A lot of slaps from Mr. Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
Trying to bobble your head.
We'll see some of that MMA coming out later in this fight too, which I
100%.
really like. That was entertaining.
Yeah, uppercut, nice uppercut.
And then I gotta say, a big mistake Nate was making. I don't know if he like practiced this in his fight camp, but he was just walking into the pocket without any head movement. Like he was just walking in a straight line. If you talk to any coach, he'll tell you, do not ever enter the pocket in a straight line. You want to, real quick, if I could show you a demonstration, angle and then enter. Because if you're very linear and forwards with your motion, it's very easy for someone to just read you, choreograph a shot, jab you right in your face, or slip, uppercut, because they know where your face is gonna be, right down that midline, right? You need to move off that midline, find an angle, and that's really where Nate was getting caught, like just walking straight in like a zombie. But
yeah, not a zombie for real.
I guess when you can take the shots, whatever, right?
Send them my way. That's what he said.
Look, he's literally holding the back of Jake's head. Like that should be split right there, but nice hook.
But the thing is, like,
he caught him a little there.
Yeah, he did.
He was in trouble. He had to clinch, smart
He
clinch.
clinched, yeah.
See, look how long. That's maybe 4 seconds right there. The ref let it go where they tied up. The ref was very hesitant to break it. Look, thinking about like holding his stomach. Oh, I don't feel okay.
Round 5, 8. This is where we see some action.
But see, Jake was smart. He didn't fall for that because he knows what kind of gas tank.
Right, that's the thing. That's what I was saying before. Like he knew, like he was backpedaling, he was doing his thing, like he was regrouping. He knew that, you know, Nate Diaz was trying to, you know, bait him essentially. I feel like,
you know, I definitely I didn't give Jake respect when he first started because I feel like he wasn't as invested or maybe he wasn't as sound in terms of fight IQ. But you can tell he's growing as a boxer because he's becoming smarter. He definitely studied Nate and Nate's film because he knows the tactics. And that's one thing, most fighters will revert to their old habits, right? Yep. Nate's old habits of walking away and then turning around, waiting for you to enter that pocket so he can catch you when you're, because you're off guard walking and thinking his hands are down here.
Yeah. Shout out to big bro too, Nate Diaz. Man, remember he would just lay down on the floor?
Yeah, just lay down and just chill out.
Post up, like, come on.
Nick's a legend too,
Showman, entertainers at the highest level. But yeah, legendary round 5 in this fight. Let's see what happens.
This is a big one.
Someone's touching the floor. Let's see who.
That's actually wrong. He was 38. The announcer got that wrong. Ooh. See, good cut right there by Jake to circle out of the pocket. See, look how he's circling. He's light on the feet. I like that movement.
Hook, nice hook.
He just needs to clean up his punch a little bit. Nice.
Yeah.
And you could tell Jake actually ate a shot there too. They exchanged shots, but Jake just had his feet planted better, more power.
Yeah, there's a slow motion where you see, because again, a lot of people like to talk online, right? And again, there's this term called meat riding out there on Twitter that's going crazy. Listen, y'all need to relax because everyone was saying, oh, Jake Paul elbowed him. Put it in slow-mo and you'll see there's no elbow. No elbow, right? And guess what? It also didn't stop the bout, right? So there's a big difference. Right? Very fair, very legal, nothing wrong. And also, it was kind of just funny how the way Nate Diaz felt. Again, I'm happy personally that a UFC legend and Nate Diaz did not get knocked out. I thought he would get knocked out. I'm very happy he didn't because I wouldn't want to see him go out like that. But the way he fell and kind of walked like a dog on the canvas, kind of funny. You have to watch that.
So what happened there is And credit to Ariel Helwani, or whoever was announcing the fight, I don't remember.
Wade Plem, shout out to Wade Plem. Wade Plem was commentating that fight.
Yeah, I think it was Wade Plem actually. He was predicting that when you're a very tough fighter, you take a lot of damage, there's always gonna be that soft spot right on the temple. That's the one spot when someone takes a nice clean punch, like a hook, maybe a chuck hook, which I think that's what Jake was throwing. That kind of shot really discombobulates you and throws off your equilibrium. That's what happened here, because you could tell Nate tried to regather himself as he was falling, and then he fell even worse and slipped.
He almost fell out the freaking ring.
Yeah. But he did regather himself really well and got back up, the true warrior that he is.
True champ. Get back up, Nate. There you go.
Up the shoulder. Giving him that standing 8 count.
He's chilling. He's just like, whatever.
But you can tell at this point, so much damage.
Nah,
he's
so
taking a lot of hits. He's starting to.
Yeah, Jake didn't want to look for the finish. I didn't really notice this, but yeah, it makes sense.
No, he was pushing the pace. Yeah. But Nate was just there and just solid.
Look at that. Boom. Like, you
nice
see the head rock.
That was a nice uppercut.
Oh my God. Yeah, like you would. Nate Diaz, man.
Look, see, all he had to do was counterpunch there, because Jake's hands are down. All Nate had to do, but obviously he's really hurt and tired too.
Right.
I'm surprised, like Nate's still moving his head. He's still in there, little looking away.
He's still walking away, yo. Come on, Nate. Yeah, good check hooks. A lot of hooks from him. Jake Paul. Also a lot of jabs and uppercuts. Like he was really doing well with his combos. Like truthfully, you know, you do have to give Jake credit. Again, you know, I think his best performance before this was in the Anderson Silva fight. I think that's when he shined the most. And then you can even tell, again, with his physique, like he looked shredded for that fight. Nate, I mean, come Tommy Fury, Jake looks a little bit more pudgy, not as athletic as usual. You know, and obviously you see what happened during that fight. He lost, and you know, a lot of things went wrong. And even Jake Paul mentioned on his podcast, Diaz with Jake Paul, that like everything in that camp went wrong. And again, it's hard to make an excuse, but again, if the truth is the truth, if it went wrong and he got injured in what XYZ, it's hard to kind of, you know, defend that.
I'm not a fan of that. I don't like when fighters come out after the fight and talk about, oh, I had an injury in training camp or whatever it is. You know, if you agree to the fight and you show up on fight day or the weigh-in and you're ready to go, you know, that's so be it. Everything else that happened, that's behind you now, and now you got to focus on the moment. And it's happened historically. So many fighters have made excuses. I think in order to grow as a fighter, Jake needs to just accept that the Tommy fight was, you know, it is what it is. And it didn't seem like he was making too many excuses.
And he's even, like, Jake has admitted, again, in that same podcast that, listen, he needed that loss. It humbled him, it got him back to where he needed to be, and it gave him a whole new team, right? He had to trade out a lot of people in his camp with new coaches, new this, new that. And look, I mean, it did him justice, and hopefully he can continue to do him justice. But sometimes you just need that refresh, you know, and that's fine. You know, it's not easy to fail at the highest level, you know, and he did it and came back stronger, so props where props are due. Like a zombie, Wade Plem, that's correct.
Yeah. He's echoing exactly what we said.
Yep.
This is where I was really surprised. You see a big turnaround here in round 6 after Nate was dropped.
Definitely.
Where he starts just putting his foot on the gas. You know, he's still eating the shots he's eating, but there starts to be a little shift right here where Jake is on the back foot. Jake is moving backwards, eating punches.
Yeah, and again, like we can put up facts. We can put up the stats too, of you know how many punches were thrown. You know, they both threw a lot of punches, but I think Jake obviously landed more damage, more hurtful shots. Nate, significant strikes. Nate, not as significant, but still, punches and bunches when they're coming in, they add up over time. So, we'll put up that stat out there too.
Clinch watch. It was maybe 3 seconds. The ref is very hesitant. Yeah, the ref is very hesitant to get involved.
It's just brotherly love. That's all it is.
I think this is where Jake starts really hitting the wall.
Yeah, we know that Jake can do 8 rounds, but definitely like round 9.
10 is a whole nother world.
You don't know what that looks like for him. And again, props for props are due. Who else is doing?
Right here. I really didn't like this I think it was the last round, where Jake wrapped his hands on the rope. The gas tank was out. You gotta have a gas tank if you're not gonna be a knockout artist in the first, second round like Mike Tyson.
I mean, yeah, true. But to be fair, I feel like his first and second rounds would have, knocked someone else down. Maybe Nate's just a different
He is a different animal, but you will come across those guys that have iron chins. It's just part of the game. And you got to have game plans for those types of people.
Yeah, a lot of hooks. Again, check hooks from Jake. Extending, finding his range.
It's crazy to me if you noticed, even up until this point, Nate's been walking forward the entire fight.
Yeah.
It's insane. He's been controlling the ring the entire fight. But obviously he got knocked down and he was just getting a strike.
Yeah.
So
that is crazy, man. Uppercut. Even uppercuts from Nate too. You know, they both look at that.
Another one.
He's
into
piecing
a hook.
up a little bit.
Yeah, uppercut hook. I like that drill. That's why we drill that. I love that combo. I mean.
100%. Uppercuts for days. That's what I might knock out my opponent with that.
The way he just took that another punch into the temple like that. Right here, he had Jake hurt. Jake wobbled a little bit. Damn. I don't think Jake's ever been wobbled.
Look at that.
He put his head in.
Yeah, putting his head in, a little wrestling.
He loves
hands
it.
Up. Yeah, he loves that too. Hands up.
He's just a G, man. He's
Just
really
playing the crowd, doing his thing.
a BMF, a true BMF.
PMF.
For those of you that don't know, that motherfucker.
That's right.
All right, so right here we got some stats.
Yep.
28% from Jake, 46 from Diaz, but that was just in round 8. And obviously, you know, I would say though it's maybe the only round Nate won, round 8. Other than that, I would give every other round to Jake. Good hook. Man,
Yeah, Jake walking back, him walking forward.
Yeah.
It's constant.
It's crazy, the pressure. I would say if Nate were back in his heyday, I think he might have won this fight. Just because you could tell he doesn't have that pop in his step. He's not quick. He's not explosive as he used to be, you know. Not that he was very explosive, but he's less explosive now, obviously. You know, he's a 30-year-old man.
Working the crowd, walking around. He's still walking down.
He looked like he had a blast, even though he took a lot of damage. Looked like he got his back turned.
Again, Jake knows. You see him
he's not falling for it. Exactly. He's not falling for the trickery. Because when you're down, you want to set traps. You want to be tricky. When you're winning, there's no reason to take risks. You're winning on the scorecards.
It's possible that Nate Diaz even made that part of his game plan to kind of try to fool him, but again, Jake showed his IQ in this fight.
Yeah. Right here, pressure. Damn, man, you can tell they're just tired here.
Yeah. It is round 9. You know, that is crazy.
Nice hook.
Jake with his jabs, doing his thing. Round 10, final round. Dogfight.
It is indeed a dogfight, yes.
At this point, I know for a fact that Jake knows he won this fight.
Yeah, he's just trying to hang in there. Look, right here.
Yeah.
So it's getting caught backing up. This, I think, had everyone on the edge of this. Look,
This was
he wrapped on the rope. That was whack. I didn't respect him for that.
He's just chilling.
And it wasted like 10 seconds. That's so whack. And the ref is doing a terrible job. The ref should have broken that up right away.
It'd be like that. And anyone in the comments, like, you're not doing 10 rounds. You're not doing 5 rounds. You're not doing 4 rounds. You're not doing any rounds. So you can't even hate on this, right? Get in the ring and then talk first.
Yeah, if we're gonna be honest, that's a big misconception with a lot of people in boxing when they enter. And Poseidon also had this a little bit where he thought, you know, oh, I do cardio a little bit, it's fine. But the stop and go pacing of boxing where you're exerting a lot of energy, stopping, exerting a lot of energy, stopping, and then it's consistent over time, it just breaks you down and it really makes you feel like what level you need to be at in terms of cardiovascular fitness to excel in this kind of a sport.
100%. So yeah, take it from someone like me who's still a novice in the sport and working towards a higher goal. You know, it's not easy. This is not easy, and you have to have a different type of mindset to do what these people are doing for real.
Indeed.
Anyone who steps in the ring is a true warrior.
Respect to anyone that laces the gloves up. Like, you gotta give respect. Right here, look. Nate's got his hands out trying to bait him again. Look, you see a dirty fighting? He's grabbing the back of the head. In most fights, they won't really allow you to do that.
Yeah, I think they also know like Nate's comes from a UFC background. It's like they're gonna let him do his thing a little bit.
Right. That's what I thought too, is because it's kind of like a specialty fight. They were letting it go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right here, guillotine. Oh, he cranked it a little bit too.
Hands up.
He put his hands up like, man, that was funny. I love that he did that.
Nah, he created a moment, a viral moment, and again, that's what it's all about.
Exactly. At the end of the day, what we're showcasing is not like what they're showcasing. Is not high world-class boxing. You know, it's good boxing, but it's more so about the entertainment aspect.
And notice how the bell rang. You know, they didn't run to each corner. They spoke a little bit in the ring, dapped it up, respect. And you know, it's funny because even again, post-fight, Jake was saying what type of words Nate was saying to him, things that I can't repeat, things that Jake couldn't repeat. So you can just imagine what the hell Nate Diaz is saying, like, yeah, you know, I don't want to say it, but he's...
No, here he's showing respect, though.
No, for sure. I'm saying, like, during the fight, like, they were just, like, definitely cracking.
You're probably talking, yeah.
But yeah, that brings us to the point, you know, we got to ask some questions. What's going to happen soon? Let's find out. So again, like we discussed from the jump, this fight brought up a lot of questions. Number one, who's going to win in the fight, Jake Paul or KSI? Who you got?
I got KSI just for the simple fact that KSI displayed a lot of improvement within a short period of time. So did Jake. But I think just from natural ability, KSI is definitely stronger, more explosive, more of an athlete, and I just see more potential in him. He looks a little more technically sound. Now that can obviously change, and no one knows these are all predictions. But yeah, I definitely got KSI.
Right. Yeah. Well, where I come from, listen, I'm just thinking the level of opposition. And I'm gonna just preface with saying that, listen, no one's me writing anybody, but this is the fact. Level of opposition, KSI has fought lesser opponents. Jake Paul has been in there with tougher opposition, and I feel in the Jake Paul versus KSI fight, it's tricky. It can go both ways, number one, but I see it more in favor of Jake Paul, if I'm being completely honest, just because, again, he's got that genuine knockout power. He has put every single opponent he's fought on the canvas, whether it be out cold or just down, you know, and again, KSI hasn't seen, you know, a hard fight. He hasn't been in a hard fight. He's been in, you know, crowds of hundreds of thousands because he's been a musician, a singer, a rapper, whatever. He's done big shows. He's a big time guy in the UK, but I just see it going Jake's way, and you know, that's just how I feel. But who knows? Anything can happen. It's a ring. Anything can happen. You never know. But again, that leads to question 2, right? What happens in a Tommy Fury versus Jake Paul fight, a rematch? You know, what do you think?
So Jake's got to make a lot of adjustments. Number one being he's got to use the jab a little more. He's got to be more creative with his combos. A lot of the time he's getting caught, and Tommy was very good with timing and breaking his combos up. So the only way to combat that is to set up different combos. Because if you keep throwing the same combos, you know, Jake likes that jab into an overhand, or he likes, you know, whatever, jab, cross, uppercut, whatever he likes. He's got to mix it up, come with some unorthodox stuff that Tommy hasn't seen before. That's going to be the key to the fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, honestly, again, I think if done correctly, if, you know, assuming Jake Paul has a perfect training camp, I think he genuinely can get that W back. You know, like he said, I think if Jake comes with different combos, sticks on the jab, you know, comes into the fight with more aggression, right? Because he kind of was flat-footed in the first fight. I feel like he's, you know, he was definitely a little bit more aggressive in the Nate Diaz fight. If he brings that energy into the Tommy fight, I think he can change the entire pace of the fight. And yeah, you know, Tommy's coming in with this confidence that, oh, I've beaten this guy once. Well, guess what, bud? You might lose the second time. It can happen, so you never know in that sense. So that's how I feel about that as well. And then the third and final question, man, how does the Jake Paul and Nate Diaz in the octagon fight go? Who knows? PFL, what do you think, man? You
So,
first, MMA guy over here.
Yeah, so I definitely have the wrestling background and jiu-jitsu background, and I'm more of a MMA fan, I'd say, even though I am a huge boxing fan. So a couple of things, right? Jake was a high school wrestler, but you know, Ohio, number one, is not like a crazy state for wrestling. The best states I would say are like, you know, some of your northeast states, such as like New York, New Jersey. You know, Texas puts out a lot of good wrestlers, California. So in terms of high school wrestling, Jake is, you know, middle of the pack, never really accomplished that much in terms of wrestling. So not only would he have to out wrestle Nate, but then he has the whole issue of meeting Nate on the ground, where Nate is, I think, a 3rd degree black belt in jiu-jitsu under one of the Gracies. I forgot which one, but you know, very, very certified, very good on the ground. And fighting with 8-ounce gloves is completely different than fighting boxing gloves. You could see that Jake is very good at using the padding of the glove to defend himself. What happens now when that padding isn't there? You know, we haven't really seen how much of a chin Jake has. He's never eaten a crazy shot like that. We've seen Nate in slow motion eat some insane shots with Conor McGregor.
Even in this
Robbie
fight.
Lawler. Yeah, even this fight. He's fought some legends with insane knockout power, you know, like certified knockout artists.
Yeah.
And he's just eating their punches and kept walking into them. So that's what we got to see is can Jake take a punch in a lighter glove where there's less padding and he can't defend with his hands as much? How will he adjust to the jiu-jitsu ground game? And then also, how will he mix all that together? Because there's also the kicking aspect we got to worry about, you know. Taking kicks to your legs, taking kicks to the body, Dean kicks to the head is a completely different realm that Jake's never experienced before. And I would think that he needs a longer training camp than a boxing training camp, because there's just so many other things you got to train. Like Nate said when he was preparing for this boxing match, he said that it's so much easier because I don't have to worry about all the other things. And all those other things are way more than what you have to do in the boxing training camps.
Yeah, Jake has said, again, on his podcast that if he were, or even post-fight interview, he said that if he were to take that fight, he would need 8 to 9 months, 8 to 10 months of
even
training.
A year.
Simply in MMA, right? He wants to practice his kicks. He feels as if he can, stand up. His stand-up game he feels like confident in. But the kicks he'd have to learn, and again, just adjusting to what happens if he does take him down. Because right now, Jake assumes that if Nate takes him down, that it can't happen. Right now, he doesn't think that's possibility.
Which is insane to think about, because like that's a serious thing.
Right.
Even if, think about this too, like people aren't considering this. If Jake catches him, right? If he doesn't instantly sleep him, which no one really has ever to Nate, he's got to follow up and now knock him out on the ground. Because in UFC, he could just sit there and chill. And if he's scared to approach him, he's gonna just sit there and recover. So he's gotta be able to follow up and get the ground and pound going. And guess what, when you start reaching like that, armbar, triangle choke, omoplata, like there's so many options where he can just utilize and use Jake's body against him.
All right, so I'm not gonna be delusional and say Jake Paul wins that. Is there a chance, a fighter's chance? Yeah, if they stay on standing up and bang out, like I think it can go similar to how this fight went, but we'll cross that bridge when we get there. All right, guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. We broke everything down from A to Z. And if you liked the video, then like the video, drop a comment. Who else do you want us to react to? Influencers, professionals? I mean, he's the boxing expert, and I'm the influencer boxing expert, so let us know. Make sure you subscribe, turn that post notification on. Like we always say, roll the outro, baby.
Yo, you got an at?